This video is sponsored by Artlist.
Hey everyone, Flo from Off to Lens here, and today we're talking about cinema lenses and more specifically, the new DZO 12-25 T2.8. So I recently received the newest Pictor zoom as well as the 20-55, and in this video I wanted to share my first impressions with you, why I think it is so exciting to have Cine zooms for my type of work, as well as showing you some test footage. As always, before I start, don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's get into it. Cine zooms have been on my list for a very long time. On paper, they seem to be the perfect mix between cine primes and my photo zooms. So since I do a lot of documentary work, I need lenses that I can use quickly in a fast-paced environment, like standard photo zooms. But I also want to be able to achieve a high-quality image and to have that look and shooting experience that cine primes give you. This year, I really want to elevate the quality of my documentary work, and I really think that these could help. Now, full disclaimer, DZO did send me these lenses, so they will be with me for a few months for me to test them out and use them on different projects. That being said, this is a collaboration that I personally wanted to make happen. I don't get to keep the lenses, they're not paying me for this, but I wanted to try them out properly over a few months before making the decision. Originally, I just wanted to test the 20-55 because based on my kind of work, that's probably the one that I'm going to be using the most. But since they were just about to release the 12-25, we thought it would be a good opportunity to have both. I will do a review, of course, but I want to make sure that I use them properly over a long period of time first. So when I first received them, the thing that impressed me the most was actually the case. In addition to the two zooms, you have PL and EF mounts, the tools to change them, some shims, lens support accessories, basically everything you need to start shooting with these lenses, and if you happen to own them, everything you need to actually rent them out as well, which is a very important point, I think. So how do they feel? In my opinion, they feel great and they look great as well. Once you pick them up, you can really feel and notice the quality and how well built they are. So the markings are very clear and all the rings are pretty smooth. So the aperture ring, the focus ring, as well as the zoom ring. And both lenses are T2.8, which is great. So in terms of size, here's a 12-25 compared to my Canon Zoom 16-35 f4 IS. And here it is now compared to one of my Makey Cine Primes. So out of the box, the 12-25 wasn't parfocal on my 6K Pro, but that's to expect considering that they're making them for different mounts. So if you don't know what parfocal means, it's one of the reasons that people get Cine zoom lenses, in my case as well. It basically allows you to maintain focus when you zoom in and out, like throughout the whole range. So for example, you can go from 12-25 or 20-55 and maintain focus. So not only that saves time, but it also allows you to actually zoom in and out during an actual shot. So all you have to do to adjust that is to remove or add some shims between the lens body and the mount. It only takes minutes. Now, one thing though, since I received the lens before it was actually released, I didn't originally have the chart to be able to adjust the back focus. So it took me a little bit longer, and wider lenses are usually harder to adjust because the adjustments are finer. So for my first shoot, I actually got it as close as I could, but since I use peaking, it actually doesn't really matter because it's always in focus. But if I wanted to use the parfocal ability of it, if I wanted to zoom in or zoom out during a shot, I was actually pretty close, and unless I was shooting at 2.8, you couldn't really notice. The 20-55 was a lot easier to do. As I said, it's not as wide, and I actually had the chart, and on the website you can follow the steps and you've got the markings and the values. So it's very easy to do. Yeah, it took me only 2 minutes. So now let's talk about the image and my first experience actually shooting with them. But before that, here's a quick word about today's sponsor, Artlist. As a freelance filmmaker that shoots a lot of documentary and travel videos as well as YouTube videos, finding good quality music and SFX is essential. As always, there's no way I would tell you guys to use something if I didn't use it myself first, and I've been using Artlist since 2018. So the platform is really easy to use no matter what you're looking for. So you can search music by mood, instruments, genre, video theme, and for SFX you can look up transitions, impacts, weather, and more. So I usually make playlists based on the projects that I have, and I add songs and SFX that could match it or that will match it. I think at the moment I've got about 80 collections and I've downloaded hundreds of tracks. And I also keep them aside, which is a huge time saver. And I love that you can download the tracks on the website now as well. It only takes seconds. And the subscription options, combined with the licensing system, makes for a hassle-free experience. It's even more interesting now with more affordable plans and the new Artlist Max that allows you to get footage, video templates, plugin, and even an editing software. And be sure to check out the link in the description to get an extra 2 months when you subscribe to Artlist for the yearly plan. So I only had a couple of weeks between receiving lenses and the launch and me going to Australia, but I did manage to shoot a few times, especially with the 12-25, so I'm just going to focus on this one a bit more. So first of all, I really love the image. I could tell instantly that I wasn't using a photo zoom. It had that look, that creaminess. And it felt closer to using a Cine Prime, which is what you want. So first I took it outdoors like I would for a documentary situation or for B-roll. So the 12-25 was great for that kind of content because it is wider, so that means that it's usually safer in terms of coverage and it's very well suited to outdoors and adventure content. So I spent time in the snow capturing landscape content as well as my wife and son. This test was also to see how I would go about carrying a kit like this outside, and it was actually pretty easy. The whole rig that you see here fit in my 141 liter. Then I also wanted to use the 2 lenses indoor since I still do quite a bit of content like this. So what I did, as always, I asked my wife to draw something quickly and I captured that using the 2 lenses. And I think the 20-55 for that kind of content is better suited, but it was great that they matched perfectly. Like you couldn't really see any difference in terms of color or look between the 2, which is good. So both lenses were very nice to use, very consistent, very smooth, great experience, and you can actually swap them pretty quickly as well. So they're heavy, yes, these are not small lenses as you can see, they definitely feel heavy, but the weight is well distributed and it didn't really bother me. I was actually shooting handheld in the snow when I was filming my wife and it was absolutely fine. Now, if I was to shoot with these on an actual proper project, I would probably use my Easy Rig, because they do have some weight to them, but weight is also good because when you shoot handheld a lot like myself, or even with an Easy Rig, it really helps you to get stable footage and it gets rid of those micro jitters. It's pretty great that you are able to shoot handheld and get stable footage like this on a lens that doesn't have any sort of stabilization and with a camera that also doesn't have IBIS at all. When I was outdoors, the light was super bright and I was also shooting in the snow and I was quite surprised at how well it handled that. Like there was still a lot of details in the shadows and the flares were very good as well. Like I'm not a huge fan of crazy flares and these were very well controlled. It still had character, but it was still very well controlled and all the shots were usable. I have to mention there was a bit of purple flaring on some of the shots, but this is actually due to the camera, the 6K Pro. When you use at 6 stops sometimes, and if you're seeing like the sun, like in direct light, you can get this kind of like purple like flaring or things like that, and it happens with all my other lenses, so I know that these are not the lens's fault, but just the camera. I wanted to use my R&D Nisi, my cinema filters, but these are 95mm front thread, and the 2 matte boxes that I have, one is 114mm, and the other one is 82. So I actually had to buy an adapter for 95 for the bigger one. So I will be receiving this shortly and I'll be able to use my Nisi filters, which I do intend to use this because obviously ND filters on the 6K Pro are very handy and I will probably use them a lot. But when I can, I always try to use the highest quality I can, especially on lenses like this, so it doesn't alter the color or the image in any way. I really love the wide shots that I capture with this lens. I don't usually shoot that wide because I don't have lenses that go below 16, I think. So to have a cine zoom that's 12-25 is very useful, and the shots reminded me of the Revenant, especially because they're super wide and of the snow setting. Now, I don't pretend to be Emmanuel Lubezki, but they did have that feel, and I really like that. So yeah, overall I was very impressed by the quality and the feel, the look that I got with this lens. It's always hard to describe the image or the look of a lens unless I have a very strong look, but these, for lack of a better word, they felt cinematic. They felt legit. You could tell they're using high quality glass, and I've been using so many different lenses on the same camera so I can see straight away, and these ones are definitely high quality. And obviously I'll do more testing over the next few months, but they also seem to have a bit of character. So not too much like vintage glass, for example, but also not super clean, which I kind of like. And like I said, like you have some flares, but they're good. They're not over the top. They're just, yeah, it's just a good look, you know, when you shoot something and it feels right, and you're happy with it, no matter what you shoot. This is the feeling that I had using these lenses. So far I'm super impressed with these lenses. It's kind of what I expected, but you never know until you get the lenses for real. It's so handy to be able to have that quality in a zoom lens. I've been shooting with standard zoom for so many years, and you kind of like quickly forget that you don't have to change lenses anymore, that you can have that prime quality and be able to go from 12 to 25 or to 20 to 55 in just seconds, and on top of that retain focus as well, which is great. So for me, for documentary work, it's very valuable to have this as part of a kit. Knowing that I can bring the case with these two lenses, and because they're made for Super 35 sensors, between 12 and 55 you can pretty much shoot anything you want, like a whole project, and even on just one of them if you really wanted to. I'm really looking forward to be able to use them on proper projects. I've got loads of ideas for this year, and I think these will come in very handy. So as I said before, I'm definitely going to do a review, but only once I've used them long enough after a few months on different projects, so I can give you an honest, genuine and informative review. That's it for me for today, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you are considering Cine zooms as well. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Also, feel free to check out my ebook, Freelance Documentary Filmmaking, An Introduction, where you can find a streamlined but comprehensive overview from pre-production all the way to marketing, built on years of my own experience shooting short documentaries around the world. And if you are interested, I'm also doing filmmaking mentoring sessions where you can ask me anything about a wide variety of topics.